good arrangement of your products and a good experience for your buyers make it easier for everyone to buy. And coincidentally, guys, making it easier for a person to buy from you also makes it easier for an agent or a bot to buy from you, for Google to understand your site, for ChatGPT to understand your site, and so on and so forth. So there is broad value to all businesses in getting their data arranged.
Welcome to the Lessons for Tomorrow podcast. Think of the show as the motivational poster in your ear. Each episode features lively conversations with technology and marketing leaders about what's changing now and what's coming next. We'll unpack what's working, what leaders are rethinking, and how they're planning for the future. Every guest brings a different story, a different perspective, and a different approach. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this episode with others. Let's jump into the episode.
Welcome back to the Lessons of Tomorrow podcast, the motivational poster in your ear. I'm your host, Brendan Cameron, head of manufacturing and distribution here at American Eagle. And this week, we're going to be diving into a little bit of AI and B2B commerce. So maybe afterwards, we'll talk about beard care and everything. But I'm joined this week by Aaron Sheehan from OroCommerce. Good to have you back, sir.
Great to be here. This is the third time we've been together on a microphone in the last 6 weeks, I think.
Yeah, I think so. It was 3 podcasts, or 2 webinars and now the podcast.
That's right. Yeah.
Very, very fun. But this week, it's just going to be us talking. So apologies in advance to all the listeners because we may have a long one here. But a couple months ago, we had a great conversation. I was in this studio with you and Avalera, and we had some good conversations about, choosing the B2B stack. Last month, we had Kevin Crease, a mutual client from WasteQuip, here with us.
Love Kevin.
I had to practice WasteQuip again.
WasteQuip.
Not
It's important. He will be mad if you say it incorrectly. Yes.
And that was just talking about, the change management and how to go forth in a development and in a digital maturity roadmap. This week, I think we just get to talk about everyone's favorite subject. So artificial intelligence. I mean, right now I like to keep it high level, but I mean, where do you think specifically like AI fits into this like B2B manufacturing and distribution model?
I think it fits in a lot of places. It's a tool like any other. It's sort of like asking, where does the electricity fit in?
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere you want it to be, right? But I think when we're talking about AI, I think most of us right now are talking about LLMs and natural language, right? Because we've had algorithms and machine learning and various other forms of like artificial intelligence going back decades. It's an old term. It's been around a long time. But the thing that's got everybody, really up in arms is ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Copilot, all of the LLMs. And if I think about what those are really good at, they are incredibly good at understanding user intent from a written or spoken description.
Yeah.
And they're really, really good at taking large amounts of what you might call unstructured data, like a conversation, a transcript, a purchase order, even a bill of materials, anything like that, and turning it into something else. It's a transformation engine. It turns text into structured data.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is everyone in this kind of sector or in this vertical, they're dealing with SDS sheets. They're dealing with documentation that they've had in file cabinets for 50 years now. And then you ask them, where's your product at? And they point to that dusty cabinet in the server room, or what used to be the server room.
Or six different pricing data .xlsx files on a bunch of people's different local laptops.
And that's where I think the biggest question comes in is I always hear, I want to have Gen AI running, some form of my business. What can I do to get there? I mean, what's the biggest question you always hear?
I mean, the top question that we're hearing a lot at OroCommerce is, one, how real is any of this? Because there's an enormous amount of hype, obviously, and amazing claims and just pure dollars going into, what we're calling AI. And then the second question is, how can I get in on that? What can this actually do? There's AI is a broad term. It's like I said, it's like electricity. What can you do with electricity? How long is a piece of string, right? So how can I use it? What specific things in my business can I either make better or improve or automate? How can I improve my customer and buyer experience? And what kinds of painful processes basically can I make less painful through the introduction of technology? It's the same question that was asked of the internet, 30 years ago.
Yeah, what can Google do for me?
Right.
I do want to carry on to that housing analogy, because I also think that big requirement, what can it do for me? Is it real? Also falls into, I have a giant table saw or a welder that runs 240 volt, and your house isn't built for that. It's only running 120. The same way that trying to jump into this AI bandwagon and having the newest and greatest technologies, but not having the data to support it is probably the biggest thing. So the same way with a house having a good electrical infrastructure, to all my electrical distribution clients, the breakers, the junction boxes, the good wiring. I think the same thing stands for people trying to get into that Gen AI and not having that backing. What do you see? And maybe this is education for everyone listening. If you've ever heard of the LLM, maybe talk more about that. I also want to get into the newest protocols, MCP, to kind of educate people on that. But you want to get started on what LLM means?
I can get started on it. I'm not an expert by any means, but it's an acronym that stands for large language model, and it's effectively a model. It's a computer model that works with text instead of working with numbers, right? We've worked with numbers primarily in computer programming for a long time. Large language models are natural language processing. They're a way for a computerized system to interpret and understand what we mean when we say words, and what then it should say back to us in response to the words that we're saying. And these models can be trained in lots of different ways. I think everybody has heard at least one story at this point, Brendan, of what we call model hallucination, which is when ChatGPT just invents facts out of whole cloth. And I think, as Abraham Lincoln once said, I don't trust everything I see on Wikipedia.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And I think another good way to think of it that I relate to it is, if you've ever seen that like cliched movie character that uses a lot of verbose language, but everything incorrectly.
So, yes. Oh, yes. Well, I feel a little seen.
The serendipitous, proportionary,
yes,
phantasmal. It's kind of the same thing. Without having a good understanding of the data, without having that, you're going to get a little bit of nonsense.
Very few people use the word delve in actual conversation, but my God, does ChatGPT love it.
Oh, that's the word that, if you ever are writing your emails, folks, and delve comes into it, everyone's going to think it's not you. So I think you have to stop with that word. Now into the MCP format, a lot of people that I know are technology partners are building it. Other, clients of mine are asking for it. Easy as can be. It's another format like HTML. It's a model context protocol. It's just another way to structure your LLMs. Essentially, it's building, your server and databases for the AI and the agents to utilize. I, again, feel that there's a lot of potential in it, but I think you may be jumping the gun by trying to get that before having your good data model put together.
Well, I want to go back to something you talked about earlier around data. There's been a saying in programming for decades and decades, GIGO, garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly.
I'll go back to your electrical,
the housing
model example. Yeah, it's a good one. But if you're an electrician, you would not buy routers, cables, breakers, conduit. You wouldn't buy all of that stuff before you'd seen the blueprint.
Yep.
Before you'd had the house framed, before you knew where things were going to go. And I think one thing that I would caution anybody about right now in the AI hype train is, don't hire the general contractor before you've actually got the blueprints drawn up and the site picked, and you've graded the soil, and you figured out where the foundation needs to go and how deep it needs to go and what all the materials are you need for the scaffolding of the house. And the analogy is, you need to know for what purpose are you wanting to use AI in your business, and what data do you have to actually support it. If your data about your product catalog is in a bunch of PDFs in different places, in a bunch of people's heads, in anecdotes and stories, you're going to have a hard time getting value from any kind of purchase of technology immediately. You're going to pay for something, and then you're going to spend months, maybe years, getting all of that information into some kind of usable structured format. We work with a lot of distributors at OroCommerce, and one of the things that distributors have kvetched about mightily for decades and decades is product data, because what they get from their suppliers is incomplete and not a complete description. It's not enough to sell. I can't sell SKU 123-A with the name wire 1/4. And that's it. That's all I get from my supplier. I know what that means, but my buyers don't know what that means. Well, what does the distributor have to do? They have to basically hydrate that information with images, with schematics, with data sheets, with useful applications. What do I use this particular SKU for? What equipment does it fit? Right? What is it compatible with? That data has to live somewhere if you want then to take an LLM and put it over the top and have it do useful things like write better descriptions or write sales copy or write schematics and data sheets. You need to be feeding the machine with enough information to give you decent results. And that has to happen first. That's also, I think, by the way, the same process that has to happen if you're going to stand up an e-commerce site.
Oh, very much. And it's one of those pieces to where when you're dealing with e-commerce, you don't necessarily have the support of a sales rep, of a live chat, of anyone working on it. It's supposed to be another store branch, another location for your distribution company, but there doesn't need to be people because it's offering a frictionless experience. And again, without any good data, without anything legible, imagine you're putting your stock up on the shelves of the branch just in any old order.
Exactly. Well, and it's interesting because you can open up a physical branch and I can give everybody there a paper catalog and say, go sell. Here's the stock. Here's the bins. Here's the paper catalog that describes it all. Figure it out. And the people become the interface between the information about the product and the buyer. Your layer, your value add as a distributor or a manufacturer becomes your team, right? With digital tools, you now have an extra value add asset, which is your digital assets, your website, your brochure site, your LLM.
Maybe an AI agent.
Maybe an AI agent that is fielding requests when your reps are asleep. Yeah, exactly. And so the value of knowing what you sell, if you want to equip your digital channels with information, you can't just hand the computer a paper catalog. You have to do something to transfer information out of that paper catalog. And this is one of the places where LLMs and AI are becoming very powerful, is they are actually pretty good tools for taking a paper document or a PDF version of a paper document and turning them into something fully useful to someone on the internet who goes into Claude or Gemini or ChatGPT and says, hey, I'm trying to build this type of house. I need this type of voltage. I have this many linear feet that I need to supply. What do I need for this job? And I'm not, clearly, by the way, I'm not an electrician. So if you think that I'm giving you actual advice, please, you need to talk to this man instead.
This is not legal advice. This is not building advice.
Yeah,
this is web development. Yeah. We'll have that little right at the bottom of the screen on a ticker. But in terms of that, this is one of the great things that working with you and your team, Aaron, I love how you get the structured content together, you get everything into OroCommerce, and now we're starting to see that positive spin take off.
Yeah.
The order agent you have, the smart AI agents, these are those frictionless experiences now that I think everyone has thought about it from the beginning, but they needed that base and they needed that support. Tell me a little bit more about how you've seen your team change with some of these Gen AI initiatives.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm so excited. I'm sweating all over your counter. So this is what I want to start off by framing kind of the purpose of e-commerce in this journey for a manufacturer distributor. And it is this. I will say this. If ERPs, I'm going to look at the camera. I'm going to look at the camera for this. If ERPs were better at their job, e-commerce platforms wouldn't need to exist. But they aren't, because what they lack is context. ERPs have a lot of context about what your ops team is doing in terms of fulfillment. They can do inventory forecasting. They can run timesheets. they can do a lot of things, but they can't tell your customers anything because your customers can't reach into them. And the information that your ERP knows about a product or knows about a customer record is not sufficient to inform a buyer, or in a lot of cases, a seller, about what they want to buy from you, what they need, how often they need it, how they want to get it shipped, how they want to pay for it, etc. E-commerce platforms are the layer inside of any kind of manufacturer or distributor who is selling to other businesses that combines context. You hear the word context in an AI setting a lot. Context is just, I have a fact, but what does it mean, right? Facts by themselves are useless. You need to actually apply them to a specific need. And so where an e-commerce platform becomes really valuable in an AI context is that the e-commerce platform knows things about the customers. I have your order history. I know what you clicked on. I know what you looked at. I know what your saved addresses are. I know what your shipping fulfillment preferences are. I know what accessorials you always have. I know what units of measure you need. I know how you pay. All of that information lives in the e-commerce platform, as well as all of the information about the product catalog, the safety data sheets, the category taxonomy. What parts does this bolt fit? What machinery can I use this lubrication in instead of this other bottle? All of that information has to live in an e-commerce site, or else it's not particularly useful. All the information about orders. Where is my order right now? What's the tracking number? When can I expect it? What's the availability to promise on this particular product? All that information is being pulled together and collected in an e-commerce platform.
And with that, I mean, this is I think that the difference between the fresh out of school sales rep and the guy that's been working the counter for 40 years, you're going to have that question. This is, let's call it old e-commerce, traditional e-commerce. What are you looking for? That's that guy that doesn't know the product knowledge, doesn't understand the industry he's working with, the type of customers he has. What we're talking about with the agentic AI that Oro has and that we're leaning toward with a lot of our clients is this is that 40-year veteran. This is the guy that says, what are you working on? It's no longer, I don't know what you need. You have a problem with this? Like, what is it? Oh, you need a breaker. Okay, then I can help. This guy is, what's the problem? I keep, the power keeps going out when I'm working to turn this motor on, or this, that, and the other. That 40-year vet's going to say, these are probably your issues. These are the products that you're going to probably need to resolve it. He doesn't have to flip through a catalog. He doesn't have to keep asking questions to the customer. It is that understanding, I think, that AI is starting to really catch up on now.
Yep.
Application-based shopping is something that I've pushed on our clients very, very hard. You have structured taxonomy. You have, people following ETIM standards. You have just generic, by usage. But I think, honestly, the more popular way of shopping, and even when it comes to like on-site search, I see people searching by application.
How am I going to, I have a problem to solve. How are you, supplier, going to help me solve my problem? Yep.
And it's those types of things to where contextual information becomes more and more valuable. And it's something I learned with like accessibility, or everyone calls it ADA compliance, although it's WCAG standards. Having good accessibility standards helps SEO, surprisingly.
Yes.
A good experience, a good ordered, information that makes your content accessible to anyone is going to also help the search engines. Having good structured data, having clean information, it's going to help the AI model. It's a wondrous thing how everything is kind of running in parallel with, everyone kind of knows SEO these days. I'm going to take a leap and say that.
I mean, I don't know what everyone does, especially not in B2B, but I think most people have figured it out by this point.
But most people understand, like, I need to have a good page title, I need to have a good description, and I have to have good content. I'll have good SEO and authority. Guess what? To have good Gen AI, to have good tools, you have to have that good structured backbone. And that's really, I think, a lot of what people are trying to jump past.
Yeah, taking it back to the AI place where we started, you can go to two places. If I walk into a hardware store and it's not particularly well organized, the bins have a mismatch of different sizes of parts. Things aren't clearly labeled. the person behind the counter isn't necessarily responsive, I'm going to walk out and not buy anything because I don't trust you. You're not establishing trust in the hardware store.
Did you really pick up that M3 bolt or not?
Yeah, I have no idea, right? If I go into a hardware store and everything is neatly labeled and I can quickly find, and it's laid out in a way that makes sense, so that the tools the hammers are next to the screwdrivers and the hammers aren't next to the conduit, and then there's like PVC pipe over next to the potted plants and things like that. Good arrangement of your products and a good experience for your buyers make it easier for everyone to buy. And coincidentally, guys, making it easier for a person to buy from you also makes it easier for an agent or a bot to buy from you, for Google to understand your site, for ChatGPT to understand your site, and so on and so forth. So there is broad value to all businesses in getting their data arranged.
Well, I mean, here, I think we're leaving out an entire type of user too.
Oh, no. We can't do that.
Good for the buyer, but that new sales rep that I just talked about, what are you looking for? Having the sales rep now, instead of having to wait 10 years before he becomes, I don't want to say semi-competent, but very knowledgeable in his role, he gets a lot of that assistance now with the website.
Yep.
I don't know how many clients I go to, and the sales rep is now a very solid persona. When we're talking about who's using the website, what's our target markets, like that sales rep, that new sales rep, because talent acquisition is a fight in this.
Oh boy, industry. It is too. It is. And buyers are getting younger and the sellers are getting younger. And there are a lot more digital natives in the workforce than there were 10 years ago, than there were 20 years ago. And, 100%. Pointing someone at a green screen and saying, go figure it out, hit the tab key a whole bunch, with your 10 key, to arrow through a bunch of forms and stuff like that to get to the right SKU and a big pick list. Like,
here's the dozen command prompts you have to figure out.
Yeah, I've got a Post-it note taped to the monitor. Like, yeah.
So I know we're talking about a lot of potential with AI. We're going into a lot of that, but I mean, is there anything right now that you do kind of think we're not ready for yet, or you think people should be questioning the usability on?
I'm not yet sold on fully agentic commerce. And man, this is going to get kind of like into the weeds, but I'm not sure that we are fully ready to let the machines make the entire buying process on its own. And in fact, I don't know that we ever really will, even in a B2B context, in a world where we're used to EDI and punch out and e-procurement and things like that. And I think one of the reasons for that is simply buying requires a lot of approval in a lot of companies. And there needs to be, unless you're going to give someone, a buyer is going to give ChatGPT its credit card and say, hey, I need you to go shopping for me. I find it hard to imagine the type of real organization that is going to surrender that much authority to an algorithm, no matter what, because again, the context matters so much, and orders have to be changed. Quantities have to be edited. How many times do any of your customers go from an RFQ process all the way to a closed order, and then that order never gets touched? Like, a lot of times those orders are getting edited up until the very last minute because the needs of the ultimate customer are changing. Hey, we've decided that we are opening in a second location, or we've added 25 square feet to this particular installation or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, everything, I still see a very strong tie that even orders getting placed online still get into a queue or an approval process, need to get checked out. They want to have their engineering team make sure that they're not doing discontinued products or there's compatibility. I know that that's the confidence grows over time. And even though I have clients that start with that process, it does go to the automatic fulfill. But it's the same thing. When we start with having a tech company come out saying, yeah, just email, your information, or have ChatGPT say it, and boom, it's done. Like, there still is going to be that check and balance. I don't know how many times a 1 and an L get misplaced, or is it a capital I, or is it a 0? Is it no?
Yep.
These types of things are really important, especially when you're dealing with 5-6 million SKUs potentially.
You're pointing out the problem of accountability, right? All businesses have to have it, and all businesses demand it. And going back to the definition of what an LLM is, it is a lot of things, but it is also a black box, right? And so businesses need accountability in their decisions, where they're spending their money, what products they're ordering, because in a B2B context, every product and part that I order is being used by my business to make money for my business. It's not a casual. It's not if I buy the wrong brand of cereal,
I
I can still eat it,
Yeah.
right? But if I buy the wrong gauge of wire,
There's a fire.
right? Yeah. Hey, that rhymed. So because the consequences can be so dramatic, I think, and because the accountability is not yet there in a fully automated buying process, I'm not sure that that's going to take off anytime soon. So I think that AI is going to be a really valuable way for buyers to discover who they want to buy from. I think it's going to be an amazing tool for automating a lot of internal processes and removing friction, training people, training internal staff, as you pointed out, as well as training customers. I don't think it's going to be making decisions anytime soon.
Yeah. So now I get to my favorite portion of the podcast, Aaron. We already got 2 crystal balls in the room, but maybe pull out a third. In the next 2 years, I mean, where do you think, what's going to be completely different with AI that you think is either not going to be used anymore or maybe become part of everyday life?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. I mean, I feel like every time I look at the news, there's some new thing with Claudebot, or, Molt, with facial
Perplexity seems to announce something every day.
Perplexity announces something every day. ChatGPT just acquired that founder. Meta is announcing that they're going to put facial recognition in all of the smart glasses.
I do appreciate that Ring commercial in the Super Bowl caused an uproar. I appreciate that part.
Yes, and I actually, so you're actually going where I was going to go, which I think backlash is too strong of a term, but I think the market speaks.
Yeah,
the market speaks usually pretty loudly, especially given a long enough time horizon, and I think that privacy and ownership of data, and when you look at some of the data breaches that are now possible, the amount of information that one bad agent in a botnet can the havoc that they can wreak in a fully autonomous sort of network, I think you're going to see a pulling back a little bit from the openness of data. I think you're going to see more firewalling. I think you're going to see less willingness to share, especially personal data like payment data, like personal data, health data. I think people are going to become a lot more reticent to share things over the next 3 to 5 years because the stories that are going to start coming out in the next 6 to 8 months are going to be truly challenging. So, well, I think that security and privacy are going to become hot again in a way that they probably haven't been in some time. And I also think we will see a lot more paywalls in the internet.
So you heard it here first. We're not going to get Jurassic Park. Ian Malcolm's going to win. He's going to make sure people do ask just because you could.
He is going to shut down that park.
It's not the answer you want is, can you do it? It's should you do it? And I think that is the right path to take.
That's right.
But I think finally, like, just kind of wrapping up, what is the thing you want to scream at the top of the mountain? What's the one thing you want all your customers to hear, all people in the industry to listen to? Like, what's that mantra you want to pass on to everyone?
Man, I think we've covered a lot of it, but I think it is ultimately that AI by itself is not a corporate goal. Adopting AI into your business, manufacturers and distributors, should not be a corporate goal by itself. It's not a box to check. I sometimes like to compare it to security. Security is a program. It's not a product. It's a process, not a product. AI is not a product you can simply buy and sprinkle it on top of your existing business, and then like amazing things will happen and you'll make all the money in the world and there will be rejoicing and parades. It is the end product and byproduct of a longer term process of improving the data quality, governance, and security of your business. It has the potential to bring incredible efficiencies and improvements to the quality of life at a pace that we have not seen since the internet started really rolling out. It is truly a revolutionary technology that can massively improve the quality of life for buyers and sellers, operators in B2B, but it is not magic fairy dust, and it depends on a lot of hard work being done around governance, privacy, and data quality at the beginning, which is a very unsexy thing to say.
Yeah.
And but I actually believe it to be very true. And I am seeing a lot of vendors make outrageous claims about how amazing AI is. And sometimes those are true. But every success story that you see online about AI and how much it's improved life is built on top of a lot of people doing work, smart work, thoughtfully over time. It is not a solution by itself.
It's demo pretty.
It's very demo pretty.
Demo
and
pretty.
we would be happy to demo it for you. Go to oroinc.com, click contact us, and we would be super happy to show you our demo. But we will also be super happy to connect you to our actual customers who are using it, who will tell you that the process of getting ROI is a long one and requires investment in the business.
Well, I think that leads perfectly into the lesson I wanted to share. And I think I've said it at just about every conference I've been in, is that I feel that trepidation into this market, being careful, measuring twice and cutting once, is the way to proceed. I have an AI presentation that I regularly use, or one slide in my presentations that I think I have to update every 3 months because the number of AI companies out there keeps like doubling in size every time. In my current slide, I don't even think you could see a logo anymore. It's just a bunch of dots. But looking into very tried and tested companies that have had that AI success, again, OroCommerce, you guys with the AI agent and the order AI, like that's something that is not new. It's been in beta for years. It's been thoroughly tested. And even without using those tools, because maybe your company's not ready for it yet, you still have a solid tech platform behind it. This is not something to where I need to question, is this company going to get acquired by Google? Is this company going to get its next round of funding? Like, you guys are great in the fact that you have this really, really nice tool and platform and system for everyone. And now you're adding the AI components on top of it.
Right.
And I think going all in on maybe something like that, I welcome it. I love working with it. I'm a bleeding edge kind of tech guy, but I am definitely going to test, retest, and do POCs before I go all in on any of those types of things.
You should. And your listeners should too.
Yes.
And we welcome that. That is the kind of company that we are. We want to connect you with our engineers and our practitioners to get to the truth of how it will work.
Yeah, you guys have been great. Like, yeah, please reach out to Aaron's team, reach out to American Eagle. We're happy to put those types of POCs together. If you have sample data or any information where you're thinking, can we do this? We can help kind of test that gauge. But thank you very much, Aaron.
Well, thank you.
It's been a great one, even though, again, we were in the meeting room and it was quite hot. So apologize for that. But thank you, everyone, for listening for the Lessons of Tomorrow's podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Lessons for Tomorrow podcast. Find out more about AmericanEagle.com services and today's topic in the description below. Like, comment, subscribe, give us 5 stars, and share this episode with others. This podcast is brought to you by AmericanEagle.com Studios, and we'll catch you in the next lesson.